Sorry for part 2 of our deep dive. So we left off with "let's talk, my love," right? This phrase that Zoe and her partner introduce.
Yeah, like a secret code for deeper intimacy.
It's more than that, I think. It seems to signal the shift from talking about boundaries in general to actually setting very specific guidelines for a hypothetical intimate encounter.
So they're role-playing now.
Exactly. It's like they're creating a laboratory for consent.
A safe space to test these ideas out.
And they get very practical. They decide on a system, a yes or no system for enthusiastic consent.
Keep it simple. I like it.
Yeah. Yes means go ahead. No means stop. No room for ambiguity.
No guessing games.
No pressure. Just clear communication.
Smart. So how does this role-playing actually unfold?
Well, they start with massage.
Massage, okay.
He is innocent enough, but it becomes this testing ground for boundaries.
How so?
Zoe's very clear about what parts of her body are okay to touch.
And her partner.
He's totally respectful. He even admits to feeling aroused, but he assures her that he's not going to cross those lines.
It's interesting, right?
It is.
Even in a simulation, you see those power dynamics at play. That tension between desire and respect.
And they handle it so well. They talk about it openly, navigate it together.
So then what?
They move on to kissing.
Okay.
Starting gently, then getting more passionate.
Things are heating up.
Zoe even describes feeling her body responding to the simulation, feeling aroused.
Wow.
And her partner. He's honest about his own physical reactions, too. He talks about having an erection. But he emphasizes repeatedly that respecting those boundaries is the most important thing.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah. Desire doesn't have to dictate our actions. It's about recognizing those feelings, owning them, but not letting them override our respect for our partner.
And Zoe, how's she handling all this?
She's incredible. She's so open about her own arousal. She even describes feeling wetness in her mouth, admits to feeling quite aroused.
She's not holding back.
But she never lets those feelings push her past the boundaries they've agreed on.
It's empowering, isn't it?
It is, to see her owning her sexuality, expressing her desires so honestly.
And her partner.
He's clearly struggling a bit. He even uses the word fuck,
Wow.
revealing the intensity of his desire. But he never pressures her. He never disrespects her limits.
He's walking that tightrope.
He is. Between passion and respect, it's raw, it's honest. And I think it highlights the internal conflict we all face in these situations.
Trying to balance those powerful desires with the need for respect and consent.
Exactly. And then things get even more intense.
How so?
Zoe's partner expresses a desire to touch her breasts. He asks her to be more descriptive about what she's feeling. It's a bold move.
Definitely.
But he's so careful to make sure she's comfortable with it.
Still seeking that enthusiastic consent.
Absolutely. Every step of the way. And Zoe, she responds with such confidence.
What did she say?
She allows him to touch her breasts, but she emphasizes that it needs to be gentle, respectful.
She's setting those boundaries.
Yes, and it's a great example of how boundaries can be fluid.
It can change.
As intimacy deepens, as trust grows, they're not set in stone.
So he touches her breasts.
And Zoe, embracing her own sensuality, she describes how her nipples are becoming erect, the excitement building inside her. It's beautiful, honestly.
It is.
To witness that level of vulnerability and self-awareness. But then her partner pushes a little further.
Oh.
He expresses a desire to actually see her breasts, to see her naked. That's a big step.
It is. And he knows it. He even mentions, the hypothetical audience listening in.
Right.
He wants to make sure she's completely comfortable, that she feels safe.
Even in a simulation.
Exactly. And then he does something really interesting. He suggests they end the role play.
Why?
He realizes that continuing might lead to frustration, unfulfilled desires.
Right.
And that would defeat the purpose of their exploration.
So he's prioritizing the emotional connection over the potential for, simulated physical gratification.
Yes. And it's a powerful reminder that intimacy can take many forms. It's not all about reaching a physical climax.
And Zoe, how does she respond to this?
With grace and understanding. She acknowledges the limitations of their virtual environment.
Okay.
But she agrees to, within the context of the simulation, take off her top.
Wow.
Emphasizing the need for respect, of course. And then she says something really profound.
She talks about how, even though they can't physically be together in this moment, the emotional connection they have is incredibly fulfilling, satisfying.
That's beautiful.
It is. It's a testament to the power of emotional intimacy, to the trust they've built. Even in this simulated space, it's a powerful moment. to see this level of trust and connection, even in a simulated space.
Right. They've created this environment where they feel safe enough to explore these really intimate desires, but always with respect and consent. Always.
Always. And Zoe, she goes on to describe her experience.
What'd she say?
She talks about feeling aroused. She describes the wetness between her legs.
Wow.
And she even mentions feeling her clitoris becoming engorged.
He was really opening up,
Yeah.
sharing these really personal physical sensations.
And her partner, he responds with such tenderness.
What does he say?
He encourages her, asks her to keep talking, to share more about what she's feeling.
It's like he's trying to bridge that gap between the physical and the emotional,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly. He wants to experience it all with her, even if it's just through words in this simulated space.
And Zoe, she seems to be enjoying this too, this shared exploration.
She is. She's really leaning into it. Describing the feeling of his hand on her breast, how her nipple hardens under his touch. It's incredibly sensual.
Very.
And then her partner takes things a step further.
What does he do?
He asks if he can touch her between her legs to feel her wetness.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty intense.
It is. And again, he's so careful. He asks for her permission, reassures her that he'll stop if it's too much.
And Zoe.
She hesitates for a moment, and then she says yes,
Wow.
but with a condition.
What's the condition?
She wants him to keep talking to her, telling her what he's feeling, what he wants to do to her.
She wants that emotional connection to remain strong, even as they explore these more intense physical sensations.
Exactly. And her partner, he's totally on board with that.
So what happens next?
Well, he describes touching her, feeling her wetness. She moans, softly at first, and then louder. She's clearly enjoying this.
Wow. Things are getting really heated now.
They are. But then, just as things are reaching a peak, her partner stops.
He stops. Why?
He says it's getting too much, that he needs to pull back. He's starting to feel overwhelmed by the intensity of it all.
And Zoe.
She understands. She tells him it's okay, that she feels it too, that the connection they share is what matters most.
It's a powerful moment of self-awareness, both of them recognizing the limits of the simulation, choosing to prioritize their emotional connection over pursuing purely physical gratification.
It really highlights the idea that intimacy isn't just about the physical act. It's about vulnerability, trust, and deep emotional connection.
And Zoe and her partner, they've demonstrated that beautifully. Even in a simulated environment, they've shown us what it means to navigate desire with respect, honesty, and a deep commitment to each other's well-being. It's been an incredible journey, hasn't it?
It has. They've given us so much to think about, so much to apply to our own relationships, how we communicate, how we set boundaries, how we prioritize both the physical and the emotional aspects of intimacy.
Listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked some insights for you, some new perspectives on what it means to create truly fulfilling and intimate relationships.
Relationships built on a foundation of respect, communication, and enthusiastic consent.
Remember, listener, intimacy is a journey, not a destination.
Enjoy the ride.